Шановні колеги, ми продовжуємо.
Dear colleagues, we resume our work and I invite to the microphone Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear friends. Please listen to the information about the recent events in the ATO area. Luhansk sector, as in the past, the lion's share of enemy's shellings is over Popasnyansk district. Thus, in Troitsk, the enemies used mortars and 152mm guns. Yesterday, they shelled from the eastern direction, and in Krimsk, the situation was the most unquiet. The occupants carried out 4 mortar shellings, having launched more than 20 mortar bombs. Also, they used armored vehicles. Besides that, they violated ceasefire regime near Stanitsa Luhansk. In general, in Luhansk sector, there were 12 enemy shellings, and out of them 6 from heavy weaponry. Donetsk sector, active combat activities continue over the entire contact line. Both day and night, militants use heavy weaponry, mortars and tanks. At the Svetlodarsk bridge, the militants opened fire in the second half of the day. They used mortars and guns and used armored vehicles. One of those shellings lasted for 4 hours. The similar situation is near Gorlenka. Militants opened fire in Zaitsevo and Verkhny-Toretsk. A very unquiet situation was near Avdiivka. Here, the combat activities lasted for more than 10 hours with small intervals. More than 200 mortar bombs were launched over our positions. In the second half of the day, the shelling continued almost without intervals. Unlike in the previous days, militants shelled the city and adjacent regions from all possible directions, from the southern, from southeast, and from the east. Almost 11 hours, around 11th hour, they used HRAD or hail installation. 18 buildings were damaged. Some mortar bombs and tank shellings were at the flank positions in Kamenka, Shakhta, Butovka. In Pisky and Opetna, the militants carried out several shellings from the territory of ruined airport. In general, in the next sector, there were 33 enemy shellings. In Mariupol sector, in general, the situation remains the same. The main combat activities continue in the south of Donetsk Oblast, that is here in Mariupol sector. Then yesterday, more than 2 times, heavy weaponry was used, mortars, tanks, 152mm guns. Ukrainian troops opened fire in response. Also, some shellings were in Krasnogorivka, Novotroitsk, Novogrigorivka. In total, in Mariupol sector, there were 43 shellings. Our losses and casualties in result of combat activities, 3 Ukrainian servicemen were killed and 8 were wounded and injured. Also, near Malinivka village, not far from Kramatorsk, the military helicopter crashed and 3 crew members and 2 passengers died because of this crash and because of the strike with the electric grid. All 5 killed servicemen. These were officers of the armed forces of Ukraine. In Khmelnytsk region, there was military exercise of the reserve, and many of them are ATO veterans. Thank you very much. 1+1 TV channel. Let's come back to the helicopter crash. how it could be that a military helicopter could strike with the electric wire, electric grid. In the video, we cannot see it. This conclusion was carried out by the special commission, which arrived to the spot, and they analyzed the remnants of the helicopter. They questioned the witnesses. So this is the information that we have as of the moment. Was it the combat activity, any takeoff of the military aircraft? This is the combat activity officially. Mr. Kennel, yes, just now I've got the information that the General Staff had issued the order that all servicemen under 20 years of age had to be withdrawn from the ATO area and to deployed in the places of their permanent deployment. I am not ready to answer officially, but maybe this is due to the recently passed law that young people can stay in the zone of combat activities only if they have reached the age of 20 years of age. About helicopter once again, was it the first flight of that helicopter, or this were just novices? What is the rank of the officers in that helicopter? I'm not ready to answer this question. Would you please mention in more detail about casualties, where those people were killed? All the casualties were in course of shellings. 3 killed people were near Avdiivka, and 3 wounded people. One in Hnuta, 1 in Vadane, 1 in Telakivka. This were about wounded people. Crimean News Agency, along the entire contact line, the enemies use heavy weaponry, not just small arms, and Ukrainian troops open fire in response. Whether Ukrainian response is adequate, quite often we hear the speculations that that Ukrainian troops use just small arms to open fire in response. Could you mention whether we use any heavy weaponry and where? We do not use heavy weaponry. Our detachments deployed along the contact line have small arms and light artillery weapons, which are grenade launchers and anti-tank installations, which can destroy armored vehicles and armored machinery. We cannot use heavy weaponry in line with the Minsk decision. The only exclusion was when the enemies tried to start the offensive over on our positions. This was registered by the UCMC, and in this case, we foresaw our partners and the UCMC that we have to use heavy weaponry to stop the offensive. In those cases, this was well grounded. And we did this. Last year, we used heavy weaponry near Maryanka, which was done successfully and efficiently. And this year, there was another attempt of offensive near Svetlodarsk Bridge. And we again used heavy weaponry this was the use of heavy weaponry was done in line with the Minsk agreement. Fully. About helicopter, the investigation had started, whether this was a mistake of appellant, whether there was some problem with the helicopter itself. I do not have any further information. Thank you, Mr. Kennel. Let's finish with this. Dear colleagues, next event will be at 1 p.m. sharp.